So I'm very much interested in not inciting riot, but in the intellectual challenge of destroying ideas that we were taught to take for granted. Many of them during childhood. There are so many offshoots, just to start with the Garden of Eden story. And what I find is that there's this flip-flop semblant of the politicians between literalist to moderate, depending on whether they're in a church or outside a church, they've been asked to justify themselves, which is where they fall back on saying, oh, this is symbolic. They might as well say the Garden of Eden story is a metaphor. It's a symbol. It's symbolic, it's not to be taken literally. They might as well say God was just a figure of speech. The ancients didn't know how to write an exclamation mark, a line with a dot underneath it, and that's all God was. If they want to start calling it all symbolism, then I hope they're ready to say God doesn't exist. But the pungent disgust that grows out of this Garden of Eden story has tainted, I think, the stereotypical view of women in many respects. It's misogynistic. First woman's created from a man's rib. Her purpose is to help the man when he's lonely. She's ersatz secondary. This idea is just built on throughout the rest of the Bible and in the New Testament. For as Christ is as the head of the church, so is man the head of the woman. Stupid policies in Deuteronomy. You see, she's seen to be a sort of temptress. So if a beautiful woman attracts a male, it's actually her, and the male mistreats her. In biblical terms, it was her fault for tempting him, no matter what he did to her. It's horrible. So if a man was to rape a woman and she had a male partner, the crime is actually considered to be an offense from that man between her man, and she's just the shamed vehicle. She's not a woman who had rights that were betrayed and was offended. And I think all of this has come out of this Eden stupidity, where the planet is damned because a woman ate an apple from a tree of knowledge. So what if that's symbolic? What's it symbolic of? Don't teach women, or don't have women educated. What's the symbolic meaning? It's disgusting. So we don't even have to touch on the crucifixion being some sort of fulfillment of this disgraceful beginning of misogynistic inequality between the sexes that the Bible most certainly makes very clear and indisputable, whether you are trying to be